What's up, fam? We're gonna be replacing the rotors and the pads on the 2015 Camaro SS. Different from a 6 and the ZL1, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I'm not sure about the ZL1. I haven't seen the pads on those, but pretty simple process. I'm gonna paint the calipers as well, but I might skip that part with you guys. But we're gonna replace the pads with some Akebonos and then some slotted and drilled rotor. So let's crack that open. Obviously there's the rotor. These performance rotors, they tend to come with a zinc film on the rotor. So whatever you do, do not add brake cleaner. Do not, because you're gonna remove some of that zinc, and that's gonna give you a hard process to embed the pads onto the rotor. So leave that zinc film in there. This is not like your typical rotor that you bought at any other auto parts store that has that oily film that won't make it corrode, or or build some type of tear or wear. Excuse me, on the rotor. These have a zinc film. You leave that zinc film on there, and obviously you break that in with your pads. So this is the right side for the obviously passenger side. I'm not gonna go through a process of doing the driver's side with you because it's gonna be the same thing. But they're pretty easy if you want to learn how to do it. If you have the tools, then obviously just buy the parts and you install them yourself. So we're going to start off by removing the pad, which is not that hard. You just have to tap out these little pins right there. You tap out those pins, you push them towards the back, they come off. That relieves pressure on these on the clip. This clip kind of just holds those pads in place. Once you remove those two pins and that clip, it literally just slides out. They slide backwards, so they slide out this way. And obviously we're going to go behind the steering knuckle, and then we're going to remove those two mounting bolts that mount to the steering knuckle. And obviously when these star bit screws that holds that rotor in place as well. So alright, let's start it up. So obviously if you don't have some type of pin, or you can use this very small long flathead. That's what I'm going to do. That fits perfect into that hole. Oh yeah. And obviously you just want to use some type of hammer to kind of just help you push that. And it's going to be kind of hard. Let me see if I could get an angle where you could see me pushing that, so you can see that sliding out towards the back. Where did I put that out? Little skinny screwdriver. Here we go. There, you just want to tap in on it. It's taking a while. Oh, it's coming out. We just gotta keep doing this a little bit harder. It's going in, just taking forever. Bear with me, team. Sometimes they're stuck on there. Thankfully you got one of these, so let's do that and go back to hitting with them. Well, that's going to be kind of hard, but let's see what I can do. Once you've pushed that and you feel like it's stuck, all you got to do is just push the clip in, because that's what kind of makes it come out uneven. So you're going to force that in. See how that pin moves, and that just kind of slides. It's kind of hard to do with holding this. Let me see if I can set the camera down. I'll show you what I mean, Jelly Bean. You want to push that clip in. See? That's the pin. And so obviously that, so now we gotta do the top one. Same process. Grab your hammer. Point. I don't think you can see from where I'm at. Let's see if I can get you a good angle. Sorry guys, probably the best I can do right now. It's really hard to kind of record. Damn, this is really hard. I want you guys to see and believe in your boy. Oh, that sucks. Alright, so grab your hammer. Just wanna tap it. And same thing, wanna push that clip in, and then this thing just kinda slides out. Man, that's what I meant. So now this slides out, and then this clip should be able to push out. So we'll get that out right now. But that's all that holds the this kind of clip in now. We just gotta somehow just get this guy out. Alright, so now that you remove both of the pins, retaining pins, and this clip slash spring, I guess, because it has a little springy to it, feel to it. Now you want to know how to remove this clip. So you have to push back your pad. Pretty simple process. Just get a long flathead, and then you want to kind of push the pad onto the rotor. So for example, you want to find an angle, and you just want to kind of like push. So you got to find an angle to squeezing the pad onto the rotor. So what you're doing is you're pushing back the pistons. So for example, those are already pushed in. I did those ahead of time, but look at those. See how those are still sticking out? So let me see if I could show you exactly what I'm doing. So you want to find an angle. So for example, let's see, kind of want to just push this against the rotor. See, for example, you see what I'm doing there? I'm kind of pushing back. Then you want to get the other angle. And same thing. You want to kind of just push in. See, sorry, the clip just fell. So now you're just pushing into the rotor. Let me see if I get a better view. There we go. Sorry. So now you want to, like I said, so this, your rotor, your pad, and so you just want to push inward. So pushing into the rotor, kind of like moving this into the rotor and pushing like the pad out. So what you're doing is pushing into the pistons. So push that. So how the clip just kind of fell out. After that, these just slide right out. Slide right out. And there, your pistons are pushed in. That one might still have some. So what we're going to do is same process. You just want to put the pad back in there, and obviously you just from there you just want to if I could get that bad boy in there. I was at the wrong side. Sorry. Sorry guys, it's kind of hard to hold this. Same thing, you just want to kind of move that in between and then push against the rotor. That should be good. And voila, presto. So those are compressed in. Obviously, if we're just switching out pads, that would be your process, but I'm gonna replace the rotor. So the rotor is coming off. So let's go ahead and remove the mounting bolts in the back. Before we remove this, we're gonna use this to our advantage by removing the little screw on there that kind of screws onto the hub. So that's where you're gonna grab your screwdriver, kind of push it in there as you move. See how it stops the rotor in place. So that's what we're gonna do. See, now it won't move at all. So now if I spin anyway, it stops. So let's grab that side. Thankfully, I got a few sizes here, so let's see what size that is. Alright, so that is a T27, so you want to put that on there. When I loosen it up, obviously it's going to spin the rotor, but it stops right there, so from there we're just going to kind of loosen it. It's kind of hard to do this at the... I gotta get a better angle. Give me a sec, guys. Well, you get the idea. So we're just going to remove it. So those are snug. They're not supposed to be tightened, so don't over tighten it. Just snug and that's it. Okay, so obviously once you loosen that just make sure to use the right size. Not a T25, it's a 27. You don't want to damage this. You damage it and you gotta go buy new ones and you're screwed, no pun intended. So that comes off, that stays intact because I used the right size. And you want to set that aside. Now we want to remove the mounting bolts. So the size for that these mounting bolts is an 18 millimeter. So if you, sorry, my hand I know it's blocking the 18. Nice and snug, not a lot of play. You don't want a lot of play. So obviously let's loosen these two up. I got a bad camera angle. What was that? I got a bad camera angle with you guys. I can't really. I gotta put it all the way to the floor. I'm not sure if y'all can see me. I'm gonna give it a shot like that, guys. So bear with me. This seems like it might be a mission. Yeah. Oh, it looks like I'm about to get the breaker bar. Hey, don't say I'm not strong. It's just a bad angle, know what I'm saying? Alright, let's get the breaker bar. Yes, that works perfectly. Make sure to get it. Perfect. Now let's get the top one. Oh, come on. Got that. So that should be enough. Sorry guys, I know making you guys suffer. Normally my quality of videos are way better than this, but we do what we can. Well, I'm gonna speed up the process. You don't have to see this. Alright, so now that I remove the rest removed it by hand and stop using the ratchet so you don't damage any of your threads. You want to start using your hands because obviously with your hand or human strength you're not able to re-damage any of these threads. Now right before I remove the last one, you're gonna have to remove this clip or base or plate that holds the obviously brake hose onto the steering knuckle slash bracket that holds onto the suspension to the strut. You want to loosen that because obviously we're removing the brake caliper and you don't want this dangling. Do not do that. Obviously anyone watching this video knows that, so but just saying that just in case. So let's get that working. 10 millimeter. Rest my hand as I mentioned. So you see, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. And that just lights off. Now you have room to move this caliper somewhere. So obviously I'm gonna have like some type of bucket here, or essentially I could use this. You don't want to use this because it's, so I'm not going to use that. So let's move that out the way. Let's add a bucket so we can kind of just hang place the brake caliper somewhere where it won't dangle the line. And cool. So I got my zone bucket. Hot zone bucket. Now let's remove the top mounting bolt. And you'll see what I mean. And voila, the caliper is off. So that's the last mounting bolt that was on top. I'm leaving that on top, and the bottom one at the bottom Wait a minute, something's missing. All right, I'll find it later. But yeah, so now let's go ahead and remove the rotor, but it's stuck, so we're gonna have to hit it. Let's find someone to smash it with. All right, so once we remove the rotor, I had a situation where it was really stuck on there. All that rust that just builds up made this get stuck onto the hub assembly. So we had trouble with that. Don't be afraid, guys, to smack this rotor, especially if you're gonna replace it. You want to use a rubber mallet, just hit that real hard. I mean really hard, and it's gonna come off. So what you want to do now is, if you have just want to clean that off with a wire brush, whatnot. Now that I have that off, what I think I'm gonna do is just put in the new rotor, leave that there, but I gotta clean that surface first. And what I'm gonna do is paint the caliper. So since I have the caliper open here now, I'm just gonna paint that, cover up some of the spots obviously that I don't want painted. Let me show you the product real quick that I'm gonna be using. It's this Duplicolor kit. It comes with this brake cleaner in there, a little bottle. It has a can and a brush, so you're gonna paint that over, so it's gonna look pretty clean. We're gonna use maybe like a soft bristle brush or an old toothbrush you don't need. We're gonna spray that cleaner and at the same time just wipe it down. That way that paint sticks on there real good. So let's set up, well, you know what, let's not set up the new rotor yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint this first. So bye. That looks way better. I have to add some brake cleaner to that. A little bit better than it was. So we're gonna leave that there for now, and obviously I'm gonna start my process of painting the caliper. You know what, I'm gonna hold off on the paint. I have a better idea. I'm just gonna put on the new rotor and then paint the caliper while it's placed on the rotor, because it comes with a brush. So so let's install the new rotor. Now before I install the new rotor, I'm gonna add a little bit of anti-seize, just a little layer. That way, if these rotors ever have to come off again, I don't have that issue where it's gonna get stuck. So let's go ahead and add a little. Alright, just a little. Just wanna kind of just make a little small layer. Just a small layer. Obviously we'll fix this up right now, but you know what I mean. Just a small little layer. Sorry, my camera's a bit off. Got nobody helping me to hold it. And that should be good. So once you've installed it and you aligned it correct to the hole that you screw the retaining rotor screw onto the hub assembly, you should be good. Any marks, that any residue you see on there behind, just remember, do not use brake cleaner or any, just wipe it off with a towel. Right? You can't remove that zinc film on there. This is not your regular rotor where it has that oily film protected from rust. So just wipe it off, do the best you can, and onto the, and it's kind of cold out here, so here in Palm. So. All right, so let's add that retaining screw. Let's start off by hand. It's so hard to do this with just one hand. Give me a sec, guys. So once you install it, like I said, it's kind of wipe down anything like with a microfiber. Just gonna remove any of that. So now our next process is going to be mounting the caliper back up onto the steering knuckle. So let's mount that. That's already tightened. Remember that it don't over tighten it, just really snug. You could hold on to these and that's going to snug it. So please do not over tighten that. Alright, let's mount the caliper. Same process that we removed it, so you already know the deal, so I'm going to skip all that. You don't have to see all that. Time to use. So let's set it to the right torque specs. There's my torque wrench. It's a click torque wrench. So we're gonna set it to the right foot-pounds. That mounts to the steering knuckle. So let's set that up. That looks clean. Just imagine when I paint this. Ooh, nice. I run to the store. Forgot when you remove these bolts, you have to reuse thread locker, because I'm reusing the bolts. If you buy new mounting bolts, they come with the blue thread locker. So if you don't, you got to apply just a little bit. So make sure to apply, you know. Yeah, let's get the job done. So these are the pads that we're going to be installing onto the Performance Akebonos. There they are. Oh yeah. Looks like these have those are the weights, so let's install these. Go ahead and add a little bit of brake grease to the back layer, just a little thin layer. Just a little thin layer. Kind of where the two pistons are gonna you don't want a big lot. So if you want to, like, just swipe some of it off. You don't want that landing on the rotor. Kind of get the rest with your finger. Just apply it evenly, like a really thin film. Obviously, nothing else flies off onto the rotor. So that's a really thin film, so nothing's gonna fly off. Alright, so we line up the pads where you could see through the hole on each end. Then you want to start sticking in the little rod or pin. Obviously this is going to be kind of loose, but you want that there. You want that to kind of sit just right there. After that, you just start hammering it in so it's flush. So that's flush there. So that one's good. So now the next one, you can do the same process. Obviously by then this is going to have more of a kick, so obviously you're going to have to hold it while you use the pin to kind of reel that in there. You see, now that just holds both of the pads in place. Oh look, my caliper. It's brush, don't worry about it. Sorry, some of you are going to complain about my still work in progress. As I mentioned, the last one might be because of that spring kind of give you an issue. See how that's kind of going angle, but essentially you have to use something to kind of hold that and then slide that pin in through the rest of the pinhole. That's the hard part. See how I got that in there right now? So now kind of look through there, see how that's in there. It's just for me to just tap it in. So let's go ahead and tap it in the back. And there you go. And there you go. So we got that done. Honestly, that's the first coat of paint. And we're going to redo it again, and then we're going to add the Brembo tires. These are Brembo calipers, so from there we're going to add little Brembo stickers. Yeah. But that being said, that's how you replace your brake pads and rotors on the Camaro SS. Should be from a 11 to a 15. Maybe the 2010. I'm not sure if the process is different. Ignore the paint. I just did that on the side job. But yeah, pretty simple. You can do that yourself with just common hand tools at home. Thanks for watching, guys, and let me know what you guys think. Oh, don't forget, you gotta break these in. There's a process.